have all of our sliders in place and patches are in the right places. Good to have you aboard. It's a Monday. Time to deal with reality one more time. Console yourself. Next Monday you can be busy doing nothing, or maybe you'll be downtown, right, celebrating Heroes Day and congratulating the honorees. That'll be a lot of pomp and circumstance down there. Well, it's a windy, rainy January afternoon here in Georgetown, and I was listening to the weather report. Man, kind of surprised me there with a flood alert, flood advisory. And, of course, we got small craft advisory in effect, but it looked like the rainy weather is going to be around for a little bit. You know, a lot of rain this January. I hope you had a good weekend. Maybe you had a little fun, got yourself rested. Yesterday was a good day to sleep in with the rain. You know, just take it easy. Some good American football yesterday too. That Chicago-LA game was a doozy. If you're an American football fan, you probably didn't get far from your recliner. You know, cold one in one hand and a piece of pizza in the other. Whenever I talk about American football, I always remember my mother. God bless her. The first time she saw American football, this was like 1963, 1964, I guess. You know, she insisted that was not football. No way. She said it was handball because she didn't see anyone kicking a ball. You know, she would never call it handball. I mean, football. She called it handball. She also pointed out that they didn't play with a ball. They played with this weird thing with 2 points, one at each end. Yeah. So, in no way was that football as she knew it. I see the e-bikers and e-scooter riders have got some breathing room until the 1st of March. It's that whole situation is still kind of unclear because from what the police commissioner has been saying, the provisions that these electronic bikes and e-scooters fall under have been in existence in the law since 2018, and then included in the 2024 revision of the Act. It's not a new law. So how all, the flurry of we're going to be enforcing this thing and, no one knew about it. How did the whole thing go on for so long? All these little electric bikes coming in to Cayman, and people riding them all over the place. And finally, here it is 2026, and we're trying to get this together to enforce the law. And the whole insurance issue. We heard that all but one insurance provider could not get their reinsurance until next year. But now we hear that the other ones, the rest of them will be getting their reinsurance in the coming days or weeks. But, e-bikers, e-scooterers, you got to get your paperwork in order and get your insurance if you're going to be going on the street, because say they're going to be enforcing the law. The law is the law, and the law will be enforced. So you got a little bit more than a month to put it all together there. Let's take a little break, and we'll come right back.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Kim and Brack and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
On Monday, 26th of January at 8:30 a.m., the 2026 National Heroes Day Award ceremony will take place in our historic Hero Square. This year, we honor the nation builders whose vision and dedication have shaped Cayman's physical landscape under the theme, Honoring a Nation Built, the Power of Physical Infrastructure. Wear your ceremonial best and stand with us in Hero Square on Monday, 26th of January at 8:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Yeah, that's what we want to know. And we got a couple of people on the line now. Will probably tell us what's on their mind. So let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello?
Good afternoon to you, Chap.
Yes, how are you doing?
Just fine. Talking about your mother there with American football.
Yeah.
Well, yes. It's a takeoff, I believe, spin-off from the rugby thing in England.
Yeah.
It's the same type of ball, might be the same size, and many of the actions are, but it's quite a bit different, you know. And a lot of it depends on speed and the different setup of the teams. I think it's the same as a cricket team, isn't it? 11 aside.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is, yes. And the length is the same as a football field.
It's 100 yards.
Yes, and so forth. And there are many things. Offside rules and different things like that. Anyhow, it's taken off, and it's a big money game. And I've often suggested that very fast runners here, they may never get to the top echelon in the 100 meters, but they might get a place easily as wide receivers in the NFL, and that is big money. And I don't know why we haven't sort of instituted a program here. It's so cheap, and it's not an expensive thing to institute. That's why it's so big in the schools in the U.S. and so forth, and colleges, where they could recruit these guys and make them earn some big monies instead of trying forever to try to get into the top 5 or 6 or 700-meter runners in the world, you know. It's just a thought, and I've said it before. What you're talking about with e-bikes and all that, you know what I said about the insurance companies, with that it's going to be a sticking horse there with it. And, I'm sure you've heard of the old Don Amici shows that he had on the radio. He lived for a very long time, did some movies in the 80s, I believe he did.
Yeah.
Where he'd end it by saying, "Don't you believe it?" That's how he ended his shows. Don't you believe it? And I see that about the enforcement thing with that. also is going to be another sticking point. And as we know, the insurance companies now seem to be calling the shots. I give you my opinion. I have to restate all that when I call.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my opinion. They're calling the shots. We see the dirt bike riders, these bigger bikes. You know, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Riding again, and they're oblivious to any sort of enforcement on them. Why, I don't know, and they're riding. So forth. So I don't know. We can't blame the police force, I guess. Keystone cops, but they're not exactly that way because they get orders on what to enforce and what not to enforce and so forth. And I imagine it's a complex, hard job that the chief of police has. And here it is. Here it is. Here it is. I hear a lot of talk about the invasion, or if you want to call it that, or going into Venezuela by the president. I wondered why they waited so long. I mean, you can't have another Cuba again in a much bigger country in the Caribbean. It can't be allowed to happen. We have to face facts. Right? Communism is like a thing. You have to keep it contained, and they try to spread. We saw it from the early 1950s with the Korean War and then the Vietnam War, etc., etc., etc.
But it was really communism?
Venezuela was been ruled by two communist rulers, and we know they allow all sorts from Iran and so forth into the country. And many have had to flee from there.
Oh, yeah.
I've met several. And they have fled. Millions have fled their country because of them. The opposition leader had to flee for her life, and others before, and many of the opposition men murdered. That's what they do. You can't allow that to continue to happen. And I'm sure Mr. Trump isn't going to allow it. And any president following him will not cut that was before. I'm pretty sure of that, United States now. And this talk about Greenland, that's not new. That's not new. What has Denmark ever done for that huge, gigantic island?
Yeah, but
I
think invading that is going to be a different story. That's going to cause.
Can anyone ever show me what they've done? It's the U.S. was.
But it's their territory.
The territory, for God's sake, never done anything for it. It's like France with Haiti.
What do you think Donny Boy is going to do except put a military base there? I mean,
well, they have something there,
whatever minerals that they have under the ice.
Oh yeah, but you've got to realize Alaska was purchased by the United States from Russia also, and that's a great investment they made when you think about what they paid for acre. There might be offers. You never know. He has to do these things first because, as he said, and he's quite right in my opinion, he said that the European Union is made up of very, very weak leaders. Very weak leaders. And they're all, you never hear a peep out of them about Iran. The thing that's happened here, we don't know. And they get their oil, a lot of it from there. Many of those countries depend on their oil, but they don't say anything. They're waiting, I guess, for the U.S. to do something. No. Those days are over with the U.S. going and spending trillions of dollars on men's lives to protect them. They've got to protect themselves. We know it's me.
I know the international scene is much more interesting than Cayman, but I don't want to wander too far into the international scene.
No, I'm not. I'm just showing you. I don't see where we're gonna have any problems really with the Venezuelan issue. I don't see it. Venezuela has swapped oil to Cuba We know for the free services of doctors and certain forces there to teach them and specialist forces and all that, and doctors and teachers. They've been doing that. It's not that they have the money to pay them. Cuba doesn't. And Cuba gets a lot of money under the table from the United States. We all know that from the Miami.
And we have a certain relationship with Cuba. I mean, you know.
Oh, big time, big time. We in Isle of Pines, we just changed the name to.
But even beyond Isle of Pines, I mean, you know.
Yes, and beyond that too. But
Cayman still flies there, right?
Yeah, they still fly there. But we know where the majority of Caymanians who have lived there and all that came from Isle of Pines, and there are many in West Bay, and their descendants and their people, and many Caymanians were born. You know the complexity of it very, very well. You should know. But
I wasn't even talking about that kind of relationship, but just the fact that
I don't see any problem. We could be panicking the people with this rhetoric. I don't know what will happen. I imagine Trump to say that he doesn't know about our connection there. We had bases here, a base by the Americans. A very small one compared to what they had in Jamaica, which they gave it back to the Jamaicans for $1, I believe, or $2. 2,200 acres.
Well, maybe we need to negotiate that because, you know, that as far as we were talking about it, what was it?
Yes, that's right.
Months ago, that, you know, behind the library there is still owned by, at least to the Americans.
It's possible, but I don't see where they've got them and proven it. I don't hear any of our Emily's get them and say, yes, that is it, definitely so, or any civil servants, big senior civil servant getting up and say that, or the governor's here saying that it was leased to the British. I don't think we had anything to do with signing that lease at all.
But Americans were here.
So. But they were here. They had it as they did all over the West Indies. It was swapped for building warships and sending millions of tons of material and warships. The one in Jamaica was for nearly 30 small frigates and destroyers because that was huge. And they gave it back to the Jamaicans many years ago. It was returned to them and so forth. And they got out of there for a very long time. The same thing, they built the big piers in Jamaica, 1,000-foot long, number one pier. And they gave it back to Jamaica a long time ago also. There are many things that are not wanted to be talked about by historians, many of historians, West Indian historians, are sometimes very anti-American. I'm not pulling any punches when I say that. I've met many of them, and some are completely different. They are seeing the light. But it doesn't matter. That will go on forever. Professors will always argue about who being a left wing or right wing or not. That will go on forever. But I don't see where they're going to settle the Greenland thing. They can't defend it at all. That huge piece of real estate. I believe the U.S. has already had bases established there. They would not miss out on that at all. It's so important strategically. And let me swap it, that putting bases there, defending it. The Danish can't. We know that. And it'll be like Canada, America defending them. We know that for many, many, many years. This will be, I believe, the result of it and so forth. That will happen. So we can't panic and say we're going to be overrun by Cubans and we're going to worry about this and that and that. It remains to be seen. Like I said, the Donna Misha thing, don't you believe it. Have a wonderful day, Charlo.
All right, you take care. And we have another caller. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon, Charlo.
Yes, how are you doing?
Okay.
So what's up today?
When you see Donald Trump mentioning concerning Russia and China attacking America from that area. This is not something that the American military just found out yesterday. It's something they have known for years.
Yeah, I know it's been discussed before, but not to the point of invading the place.
No, they have just found the right president who's serious enough to do what needs to be done to protect America. And having Greenland is a part of the Golden Dome.
Well, don't you think that they could just talk to Denmark and get the okay to put military bases there and still have their Golden Dome?
Well, I'm not too sure if Denmark will allow them to do that. That's the point.
They're all part of NATO. I think they could negotiate that. You don't have to talk about invading the place.
No, I'm not saying
he wants to make it
about
part of the United
invading the
States,
place.
but we're going down this whole international U.S. ruling the world conversation. You know, I like to keep things. I'd like to keep things at home.
Yeah, I understand, but what you gotta realize, if anything happens to the United States of America, Cayman's going to get involved. But that's not what I call about.
Okay, so what did you call about?
The cost of living in Cayman. That is the most important thing now that the government has to deal with. Because that's what's going to cause a rise in crime. And also being overpopulated. And then when it comes to the cost of living, we have over 700 students graduating every year in Cayman Islands. And if those young people are not able to save for a rainy day, they will not be able to buy any land because of the cost of living.
It's hard to buy land now.
Yes, and every year the price of land is going up. So the government needs to get serious and realize that if they don't take care of the cost of living, they're going to destroy the future for our young people. Thank you.
All right. You have a good one. Yeah, you know, we all know about that price of living in Cayman. It ain't cheap. And of course, there's a number of factors that go into it when you go into the grocery store and have to pay that bill at the checkout. And sometimes, you know, when you want to buy something, you have to think twice about it when you look at the price of it, right? Do I really want this? And more importantly, do I really need this? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And Cayman is not the only place. We're not, you know, the only community that is struggling and meeting the cost of living. A lot of places do. And it's about, 16 minutes until 1. Actually, 15 minutes now. Let's take a break. I'll be right back.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
We have callers on the line, so let's go straight to the phones. Good afternoon, you're on the air. Hello? You're on
Hey, Chalo.
Yes.
Happy Monday, my friend.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, I was down in Boson Bay early this morning, man. It felt like 30 below down there, I tell you.
Yeah? I was down there yesterday.
Boy, it had some good rain down there, too. Yeah, man. I had a little tour down around Office Point this morning and look back on some childhood memories, you know?
Yeah. Having some flashbacks?
Yeah, and also looking at them houses that they're building on the seaside there. Why, I tell you, Chalo, you know, broke boy gonna live in them houses there, you know.
My wife keeps asking, where are all these people coming from? I don't...
You know how it go, man. The money haven't spread out, you know. So, thank God we're getting some of it here. Yeah, I said, man, I gathered some history before I went to school, man. I didn't know that our first sports day was in 1949.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been hearing that on Radio Cayman.
Okay. Our little historic vignettes that we have.
Yeah. So I didn't know that, man, because I didn't go to school until 1954.
And sports day's always been big. A big day.
Man, I tell you, that Cayman style beef and them rice and beans them times, right? Boy. Sometimes I think about them. I still got a taste of that in my mouth, man. That's how good they were, you know. Yeah, man. That's how good that food was them times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, according to that information, that history there, it seems like from them times the Cayman was preparing for World Cup too. And
with football.
Yeah, I do remember when I first started school. I do remember Georgetown and West Bay playing some matches, some hard games, man. This is when you had all Lenny Hugh and all them man they're playing for Georgetown, Ed Bush and Floyd Bush. And Mardine, Austin, and Ashton, all those guys, the man Benny Parsons and all those guys, West Bay had a great side. Them times, some hard football, man, let me tell you. Yeah, I didn't know really.
How about Ed Bush?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was the boy, you know. He when we started to play primary football, Ed Bush was our coach. And 1962, I believe, we won the first cup for West Bay Primary School against high school. I won't forget that match. Yeah, man. But to see, Chalo, I keep watching cricket here and football. Last weekend was so great, cricket and football. And when I look at India, Australia, New Zealand, you know, they're the countries right now that is keeping up the football, the cricket across the world, you understand? And when I look at young West Indians going out there and playing for these franchises and making all kind of money, man, up in Dubai, all those places. It makes me feel a way, you know, that Cayman was in cricket and football from them times, and we really do have nobody on the outside there making some good money and traveling and all those things, you know.
Yeah, well, sports is, you know, it looks easy when you look at it, but you know, it's not something that anybody can just jump into. You got to be.
What I'm saying is,
you got to be dedicated to it, and you know.
What I'm saying is that
dedicated to train yourself.
We didn't continue.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't have that help to continue. You understand?
Yeah.
I fully believe that if Teacher McField had lived 20 years more before he died, I believe things would have been different in sports in Cayman Islands. Because I believe everything, athletics, everything, well, the whole thing is athletics, but he was involved big time in sports those times. And you had Alfred Hydes, all our teachers, and Mike McLaughlin from East End, Sir Alden Farlow, all of them was coaching whatever they knew to us. But like I said, you know, it didn't continue. Nobody were really interested. Like government officials and things like that them times, yeah. Besides Benson Eubanks. I remember Benson being involved in cricket sometimes. And then came man like Jimmy Powell and by right. That don't want out by right them times, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Derek White.
Yeah, Derek White, man. You know, cricket has started to move in Cayman Islands here, and all of a sudden, man, it just, I don't know what happened to it. And right now,
it almost seems like it got overtaken by football.
Right now, we're starting all over again. I don't know what will happen, you know. I don't know what will happen with the sports on there, to tell you the truth, man, because right now, we need to put money in this. If we want to be successful in sports tourism, we need to put money in this, friend. And I don't think, really, I have to speak the truth, you know. I don't really think them coaching things that we go on here, right, really have Cayman at heart about helping Cayman. I don't know if they have the qualifications to do it.
So, it's just a job for them, is what you're saying?
Well, that's what I'm...
They're not here to really further the development of sports?
I don't think they really have Cayman at heart. I don't think that's their reality inside, you understand?
But we've had some coaches that have really improved things.
Like what Mika was talking about just now, about that 100-meter, right?
Mm-hmm.
100-meter race. Chalo, I don't want to hear nothing about those small islands, this and that, right? The way I look at life, God was not partial to any of us. God gave us everything to make it through life. But we need help. Everybody needs help. You understand? And I think that's the biggest reason or biggest downfall. We're not going to help. And we're not putting no money in this, boss. You got to put money in this. The other day we talked about the Bahamas. Yeah, that's what happened. They went down, but they come back. And they got sports tourism going. When you look at their facilities and everything like that, and millions of dollars they're putting into this. Not guaranteed anything will come back, but they put it in.
When you talk about sports tourism, right? What does that mean exactly? I mean, is it having a place where big tournaments can be held?
Yes. Chalo, for about 12 years now, they've been talking about that 50-meter pool. I don't know a pool could take so long to build. About 12 years they've been talking about it. And since the election gone here, and the minister came here on radio one day, and he mentioned it, but I never heard no more about that since. I never know a pool could take so long to build. And if you really want to help young Caymanians, especially the swimmers, them, let me tell you, they make us proud on the outside there. But we need those facilities, man.
So what kind of sports do you think would be the ones to highlight in order to have sports tourism?
Right now, let's say basketball, volleyball, and football, and cricket. Yes, we could have tournaments on here once we got the good sponsorship and things like that. You know, like I say, money got to be involved, or else it don't work out neither. You understand? So,
well, money moves things, right? Money makes things happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to build a stadium without money.
Well, I tell you, Charlie, man, at time when I look at the facilities and things up in England, Australia, and them places, about them fields and things, you can tell it.
Mm-hmm. But remember the population that they have, you know.
Well, that again too, Shadow, but since
I mean, you look at some of those football stadiums, all of Cayman could fit inside of there and still have seats left.
Yeah, well, I'm still saying we could be better off with facilities than what we are. If we are really serious about helping Caymanians in athletics, like we talk, because I hear the talk all the time, but boy, I do see the action. You understand? So, I really don't know. But I just feel like if we had the right coaching and thing on here, we could have people outside there playing the franchise cricket. And
well, you mentioned basketball. Now, we have a basketball coach here that has really put his heart and soul into Cayman, developing basketball in Cayman.
Basketball has got more attention here than anything else, man. Trust me.
Well,
and I don't know who's been successful in them universities in the United States. I don't know who's getting a chance with those big teams out there. I don't know. I don't know how successful it is because I don't like that game that much. You understand? Once in a while I watch it. But
when you talk about professional sports, you know, it's only the creme de la creme that is going to, you know, reach that far. I mean, even something like American football, of all you got all these college teams in America, right? But really, it's only a handful that play and make good money in the NFL. You know? When you compare to the number of football players that there are in college programs in the U.S., is only a handful that you know end up making a very good living or even getting selected to a team. You know, because they're looking for the best You got to be the best to be selected. But listen, good talking to you.
Yeah, man. That's one of my interests in the young people today, man, is to see them go forward, Even though,
of course.
Even though I tried and I didn't make it, but
we got to hope that they do better than us,
I don't have no resentments for people, you understand? So it is my interest to really see them go forward, my boy. I mean, after trying so hard like they do.
Yeah. We wish them all success. But, my friend, it's 1 o'clock here at Radio K-Man. And that means I got to tell you have a good afternoon and check in with the newsroom.
From Radio K-Man's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Elizabeth Charles. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce says the Leadership Cayman class of 2026 is now officially underway, following an orientation dinner at Grand Ole House on the 14th of January. The Chamber says 25 professionals have been selected for the 6-month leadership development program, which includes bi-weekly seminars, site visits, and engagement with senior leaders across key sectors. Spanish officials say at least 39 people are dead and more than 120 injured after a high-speed passenger train derailed in southern Cordoba and was struck by an oncoming service in what authorities describe as the country's worst rail disaster since 2013. Transport officials say investigators are examining a broken joint in the track as a possible factor, but stress the official cause has not yet been determined, while Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has called a planned trip to Davos to visit the crash site and oversee the response. China's population is continuing to shrink, with official figures showing the country's birth rate fell to a record low in 2025, despite new government incentives. The birth rate dropped to 5.63 per 1,000 people, the lowest since 1949, while the death rate rose to its highest level since the late 1960s, pushing the overall population down by 3.4 million to around 1.4 billion. Beijing has scrapped the one-child policy, raised birth limits, and offered cash bonuses and tax changes to encourage larger families. But experts warn China's persistently low fertility and rapidly aging society will weigh on its workforce, pension system, and long-term economic growth. Those are the latest headlines. I'm Elizabeth Charles.
Radio K-Man. More news available at www.radiokman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio K-Man Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Following the storm of 1932, Cayman Brac, under the initiative of Commissioner A.W. Cardinal, engaged in several different industries to boost their recovery efforts. Sharks were actively fished for their skins, which were then shipped via Jamaica to New York. For perspective, one good shark skin over 35 inches could feed a family for a week. egging became more common. The practice of egging meant traveling hundreds of miles to the Sorana, Pedro, and Morant Cays and collecting birds' eggs and then shipping them direct to Jamaica. The eggs would value at £4 per thousand, with the season record being 291,000 eggs collected. Cattle and goat hide tanning was also a trade unique to the Brac by the Lazari family in Northeast Bay. Its leather products supplied the sister islands and was exported to Jamaica and sold in Grand Cayman.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and let's take a quick look at the weather, the current conditions. Temperature here in Georgetown, 78 degrees, nice and cool, and the wind at just over 14 knots coming out of the northeast. And forecast for today, scattered showers this afternoon and more scattered showers straight through the night. Wind is predicted to be north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots with higher gust, and seas are rough with wave heights running at 5 to 7 feet. Small craft advisory is in effect, and with all those scattered showers, we actually even have a flood advisory, which kind of caught me by surprise for January. Weather Service says flood advisory in effect for the Cayman Islands. And numbers to call, 1-800-534-8255. That's toll-free, courtesy of Flo. And you can also reach me on 949-8037 or on the WhatsApp, 925-3261. Call me, send me a message, leave me a voice note. Pick up the phone, make contact. And we do have someone on the line right now. So let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, Charlo. Couldn't help but think when you introduced the program this afternoon and called for people to call, and that you got off on quite a extensive subject matter.
International affairs.
Yeah, but that's why the program was developed. It seems to be there'll always be more questions than answers, but you got to keep searching for the question. But there was a few things I think that Mickey brought up there. I believe I heard in his narrative, he asked the question, why more Caymanian athletes involved in the U.S. college, and I think he mentioned the NFL process.
Mm-hmm.
And, looking back over the years, there have been Caymanians. From back in the early 50s, there was a big star for the Texas A&M Aggies down there in Texas and East Bank.
College ball.
And, college ball. Yeah. I don't think any of them that I can recall over the years ever went over got into the pros.
Yeah.
So much to my knowledge, but all through, up until actually very recently, Caymanians has been involved in the process down there. And in fact, some of them played very high level high school football, because many years ago, they had a championship high school football game, and which the Miami High, I think, was involved in the championship game two years in a row. And I believe they won. They won both.
They always had a good football program at Miami High.
Yeah, and there was a Caymanian there. You might have even he might have even come across your path somewhere. Donnie Barton, who was a superstar on that team for 2 years. And throughout the year, then there was a pattern that played, I think, tight end for Florida State, one of your alma mater, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the late 60s, early 70s, the University of Miami had an interest in coming to Cayman to see, look over the athletic program down here. And at that time, they were really trying to recruit a tight end. That was one of the focuses on that year, in fact, the 2 years. You might remember Ted Hendricks.
Oh, yeah.
Who played, well, he was recruited as a tight end wide receiver. They switched him to defense.
Mm-hmm.
So they, and that's where he made his mark in the pros. But they were trying to, but when it came to looking at Cayman, I don't think they ever came down here, but they couldn't seem to get a timing on some of these guys that was mentioned to them that could fit into this tight end category. And I remember Charles Farrington was one of the ones that you mentioned, but I don't think that they ever could get a timing on his speed. Charlie was a big man. If you remember, he's still a big man.
Yeah.
And but it never really came to fruition. And another subject I think that Mickey was really talking about was Greenland. Well, the U.S. has quite a extensive presence in Greenland, and they've had that for the years. Air Force Base up there. But with all the battling, I think that it is really to stir up some interest, because so many, can't say so many, at least two or three of what you would consider enemies of the West, they have a huge interest in that Greenland territory. And if something isn't done, then they could very well acquire it. Yeah. And there's a lot of activity from their side up there now. And another subject I think that was broached was that the beginning of interscholastic champion, what they call it, sports day here in Cayman. And I believe I'm right about that. It was either the first one that started in 49, or it might have been the second one. But West Bay won that year's competition, and some of the big stars in that competition was Ivan Farrington, who's still alive. Colbert Parson, he has gone on. Alfred Hides, he's gone on, and also Raby Hides. So, Cayman has always had quite a number of good athletes, roaming around. Even when the population was, 4,000 or 5,000 people. So,
yeah, the challenge that we face is that the small talent pool. When compared to bigger places. But your comment about Greenland, don't you think, you said they already have a presence there, but here we have an ally. Don't you think that, granted, the threat, let's say, is legitimate. Don't you think that could work that out with Denmark without going to talk of invasion?
Well,
or we want to make it a part of the United States, what, the 51st state or something?
Maybe the rhetoric has got to be a little high, but sometimes that's what it takes to get little action from the people who should really be interested in this. I think that part of the thinking is you don't want what happened in 1913, where the U.S. had to go over there and rescue everybody, and then again in 1939. It's the thinking about behind all of this, a lot of this rhetoric that you're hearing, goes deeper than most of us can comprehend. But I guess it's what it is, and
so it's just saber rattling.
Well, I think biggest part of it, but it is to elicit some of the folks that's been sitting on their hands for the last 40, 50 years, 60 years, seeing a lot of the inroads that's being made in the democratic way of life happening. We look at New York and some of the other U.S. states. In Europe, the process has been going for a long time over there. So, it'll all come out. It'll all come out.
Yeah, and now he's talking about maybe they don't need midterm elections. Is that just talk too?
Yeah. I think what history has. Let's say over the most recent history, the group that's in power in the U.S. has had a very bad track record in winning the midterm election.
Of course.
Well,
it's part of the politics, right? But as far as Greenland's concerned, I think if you have an ally that has that territory, you should be able to sit down with them and say, look, we need it for our security, and your security is also involved.
Yeah,
so let's work this. Here's the deal. Let us expand our military presence there or whatever, and we have this golden dome of defense. But why go to the extent of, we want to make it part of the United States. We are going to invade it if you don't give it to us.
Well, let's look at
that's craziness.
Let's look at the outcome of what that rhetoric, call it rhetoric or whatever, has accomplished. There's about 5 or 6 European countries over the last probably 10 days that has said they're going to put a military presence in Greenland.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, you get back to trying to stir it up to where they jump up and take a lot more responsibility than they have taken over the years. So that the same thing that happened in 1912, 1913, and 1939, that, 1.5 million troops, U.S. troops, have to go over there and rescue the continent.
Yeah, well, we could go in a lot of directions, with this conversation as far as when you're talking about holding the line. Maybe the line should have been drawn in the Ukraine.
Well, yes, definitely, and the reason why it wasn't drawn, well, it's quite evident over the last, let's see, 8 years, well, let's say 12 years, where the line wasn't drawn. So, anyway, Charlo, I think talk today, open line, whatever, it serves its purpose to get the community involved in all these things, because we're not isolated out here. So,
no.
We got...
the reason I like to try and keep the focus at home, and it would be much easier to, go make it a wider discussion when you start talking about what's going on in the U.S., what's going on internationally. But there is so much of that available if you just turn on your TV or you listen to BBC or, you can pick that up just about any place, any kind of media you go to. So I try to keep it in our backyard,
Yeah, and that's a good good direction, to try to keep it in the local sphere.
Yeah.
Because that was why the program was developed to begin with, to give the general public a voice, even though it was a struggle for many years to keep it rolling. But I guess you see where we're
and you know what? Sometimes you struggle to come up with subject matter of interest for true. But the other day I was thinking about it, and I guess that's why we love living in Cayman, right? There's not a lot of conflict to talk about. It's not a lot of people going after each other as it is in other places, that you have all this interesting discussion to, any day of the week you can just pick something out of the news and you can do 2 hours on it easy.
Yeah.
That we have a nice place here, and that's you don't always find a lot of controversy to talk about.
Yeah, well, you say we got a nice place here. Yeah, I think we still got a good product. We still, but if we're not careful, it'll be eroded before we even see in front of our nose.
Yeah, as one of my listeners told me the other day, it's people are willing to put up with the cost of living. Tourists come here despite it being an expensive place, and one of the main reasons is that people feel safe.
Yeah.
You don't have people coming busting down your door and in the middle of the night and killing you and robbing you. You in the evening, if you want to take a walk, we can still do that. I know we have our little incidents and here and there. We're not crime free by any means, but you can still walk on the street in the evening. And
but those little things that you refer to as incidents, little incidents, if they keep festering, it's going to degrade the whole process.
We do have to preserve the safety.
Yeah, and I am not sure that with speed that we're hitting, if that will be possible to sustain it over any length of time. So, yeah.
Well, let us all work towards that to keep Cayman a safe place.
Yeah, well, keep it a safe place.
When we see crime raise its head, its ugly head, let's nip it off.
Yeah, well, how have you been doing that?
And I know that there are certain social things happening that, feeds crime, but and we have to try and avert that also.
Yeah, well, I guess the old saying is keep it balanced and move ahead. But I think it's got a little bit out of balance here over the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. All right.
Lux, good talking to you.
Come on.
Have a good afternoon. Well, I mentioned a little earlier that I was down in Bosun Bay yesterday, actually. Yesterday, Sunday, my wife and I attended a special service at the Bosun Bay Presbyterian Church. And it was special because it was commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Lighthouse School. And how time flies, eh? The reason it was at the Bosun Bay Presbyterian Church is because that is actually where what we know today as the Lighthouse School, that's where it started, right there in what is now the church hall. And actually that church has some interesting history. I learned yesterday it was started under a grape tree by Mr. Bertie Banks. he and some followers decided they would form a church in Bosun Bay. And the Lighthouse School is the fruition of the vision of Pastor Jonas Shepherd and Miss Mary Woodward. It was their vision and efforts that brought the school into being. And a story was told yesterday that when it came to what they were going to call the school, one person suggested, and if you know the area, the lighthouse, the Bosun Bay Lighthouse, is right there by the church. So the person put forward that there was no other name to be considered except calling it the Lighthouse School for the physical closeness to the lighthouse and also the symbolism of a lighthouse, right? So that was agreed on, that there was no other name except the Lighthouse School. And the coming about from the efforts of Pastor Shepherd and Miss Woodward, this was like a turning point in Cayman as far as how special needs children were cared for in Cayman. If you know about how things went prior to that, children with special needs were locked away. Parents were ashamed. They weren't brought out into the greater society. They were literally locked away. I remember as a kid, sometimes you knew about these other children and adults too, and actually, because of how they were treated, you were almost kind of scared of them. You looked at them as strange, and but with the coming of the Lighthouse School, the whole idea of all children need to be educated and enabled to fulfill whatever potential they have. And it was noted that people who had gone to the Lighthouse School, you were able to see them working in places like HSA, in various some stores and such. And this has just blossomed into what we have today. The Lighthouse School that is located, in Shamrock next to Red Bay. During the service, the work of former principals were acknowledged, including my wife, Vanette, Marge Quinlan, Carla Scott, and Olga Gerzong. These were all former principals who had laid the foundation for the Lighthouse School. If you remember, it used to be, once the government took it over, this is like, 1981-ish? Yeah. It was located over by the Pines, between the Pines and the hospital, right? And so these former principals laid the foundation for what we have today. And the Minister for Education, the Honorable Ralston Anglin, he spoke during the service and made an announcement that the first steps toward expanding the Lighthouse School are underway. It has to go through caucus and into cabinet, but those steps are being taken, and so we will be seeing an expansion of the Lighthouse School. And today we can say proudly that we have probably one of the best, if not the best, schools in the region as far as special education is concerned. So congratulations and salute to all the people who have made and are making, the Lighthouse School an institution that we can be proud of. And, so the good work continues today right there at the Lighthouse School, helping our young people who have special needs. And we're going to take a break, but I think we have a caller on the line, so we'll be right back with you. Hang in.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and we do have a caller on the line. Two callers, actually, so let's take the first one. Good afternoon, you're on the air. Hello.
Afternoon, Charles.
Yeah, you're back again.
Charles. Yes, yes, I'm so thankful that Doxy called and said what he had to say and so forth, shedding a light on that. I won't keep, as you say, on that subject and try to focus more on Cayman and so forth. I'm just trying to show those connections, and as he stated, so I'm agreeing with my position and why I was saying that it enlightened people's knowledge of the conditions there, the Greenland thing. What it does, it pushes the people, as President Trump wants to do, get the people moving instead of sitting on their hands all the years on not doing something about things. You're so right about the lighthouse thing. It's we could never thank those people enough, including your dear wife, for all this what has happened. It's shown a light, so to speak, on what you're talking about. We kept it hidden. We kept them hidden away and so forth. Those of us are old enough to know. And that was so important that happened. It's of extreme importance. And we see the major difference nowadays, how they're involved in things. As you see, many have become employees of different governments. And
productive citizens.
Sector. And productive citizens, instead of staying there hidden and shunned, as you said, which is the right word to have used, and all that. And it's a time in our history we like to forget, but we can't. And these things waking it up and show us that we can't allow that to happen again with certain things, and we must bring it out into the open and have proper discussions and proper governmental involvement in these things. And I'm glad the minister was there. I'm
Mickey,
sure he will keep.
Mickey, it was not only the children being shunned and locked up, but parents would feel guilty as if they were being punished because they had done something, and they had,
Right. They had those children.
God is punishing me with this burden.
You're right. You're right. We can think of that families. We know we don't have mentioned, but we know, and it's a kind of shameful part of our history. Put it that way. It is. No one can deny that. And we learn as we go along. But that happens throughout the whole Caribbean. It's not just here, because I went to school in Jamaica. And I remember all that happening there with things like that. Even just people who weren't, mentally, if you put it that way, backwards or whatever you want to call it, but physically disabled, they were kind of looked at and laughed at and shunned. I remember that. I don't forget. It's a shameful part of our past that, and we were kind of, looking the other way if we were standing talking to him, and because this guy had a very bad foot or, walked with help with a stick and at a young age or we look around. Oh my God, I can't forget those days at all. But it's one thing I just wanted to mention. Call back. When we keep talking about the turtles and being close to extinction and whatever and what they have done over the years to preserve them and the green turtles, and that's all very nice, and I'm thankful for these people. But many of these people involved in this effort now are young, and they've just come here to live, say the last even 20 years or more. They really don't know the history of the turtle farm. Many Caymanians still call it that, and I will forever call it that way. So to speak, what started it, and I'm so very disappointed. No mention is made of that great man, Dr. Robert Schroeder, Bob. And I'm thankful that I was able to have the privilege of meeting and knowing that person. And
Did he start the farm up?
Of course, it was his idea. The whole thing was his idea. And we have a book written by him on night diving. He was the pioneer of night diving, so to speak, in the world. And it's amazing. I don't think his name is in the Scuba Diving Hall of Fame or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it isn't. And these people don't mention that. It was his idea. He knew right away from the beginning he'd need funding for this gigantic project. We got eggs from Costa Rica, Guyana, and all over. And the ABC Islands there, what's the one with the sea name?
Was Aruba and Curacao?
Monaco and Curaçao, is that it? Yes, but Curacao, the Dutch islands, and then also from Costa Rica and Ascension Islands and even Guyana, many of the eggs. I know what I'm saying. That's where they were gathered from, brought here, came out in the same sand and had to be kept still. Over 30,000 eggs, and they were hatched out. And the rest is history. We had over 108,000 turtles in 1978 when I left from there. But the point I'm making, he realized that he needed the financial help from very wealthy organizations to do this. And he did get it from Mr. Fisher in United Kingdom, a millionaire chicken farming man, and his son. That was Henry Fisher, and Mark Fisher was his son, and so forth. And then the guys from the U.S., Mr. Hamlin, an engineer, who was also a millionaire too. Family stuff and all that. And he drew the plans for the tanks and the I remember all that. But this is over 50 years ago. But what I'm saying, it was a tremendous operation, and they did a lot of research. Humongous research was done. Hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of research was left there. I think they might still have them somewhere there. That would greatly help. I remember when they went into the thing of experimenting and knowing about ozone layer and so forth, and bringing ozonators there, and we having to install them as with the engineering team. And that I can't forget the many things that led up to what it had become. And we had a very good business going there. We had eventually the jewelry factory, export jewelry made from the shells of animals, and we had exporting meat and so forth. I think it was 40 turtles a week, and anyhow, we had tremendous success with hatching them, because in captivity the female will lay in 6, 7, 8, 9 years and so forth, whereas in the wild they lay maybe in 20 years, and that's a big difference. Anyhow, this is what I'm saying. I remember particularly, and I won't call names because it would cause great embarrassment to us. One of my biggest disappointments with that whole thing was when they did not appoint Mr. Norman Clark West, their Caymanian there, Isle of Pines Caymanian, that brilliant man, my good friend, as the general manager. And the only reason why, and I will not refuse to take this back, why he wasn't appointed, because I knew what was the makeup of the board then and all that. And it has ever stuck with me from those 50 years ago, was that he was black. And I'm saying that without any fear of being contradicted. That was the only reason why. And I was so disappointed in that I live with that and think about it all the while. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
All right. You have a good afternoon. And more phone calls. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Charlo.
Good afternoon.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. And you?
Great as usual.
All right. So what's up?
Charlo, I have a sort of a short poem that I want to read, if you don't mind.
All right.
It's entitled Seek Blessings.
Go ahead.
Seek blessings. I believe that we may find them. Seek to do things right and don't quit. Let us go about our daily lives in the right way, putting aside negativity. Let us have good to say. We can be a good example to those after us, believing that we can do it. In God we trust. Trusting and believing that our ways could improve. Taking the right steps by making the right move. Why not try harder to become a better person? It is important to seek blessings and not curses. Being led by the right spirit and being of good cheer. Being cheerful, positive, and helpful. Angels may be aware. Give thanks. Angels may be aware. So that's my short poem, Mr. Charlo.
Well, thank you, Poet Laureate, Mr. Craig Brown, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Craig.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you, man.
sir.
You set us up for the rest of the afternoon.
Okay, sir.
All right, take care.
All right. Have a good day too, sir.
We got to break away, but we'll be right back.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive, drive smart. Cineco and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cineco motor insurance. Learn more and register at cineco.ky. Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And a quick message here from one of our listeners. Hi, Charles. So happy to hear that Nurse Mary Woodward was recognized. I remember and appreciate that during my short time working at the NCSS, Mrs. Woodward took me to some of her house visits, elderly disabled Caymanians, and to the first location of the Lighthouse School. It was very eye-opening, wonderful to see what it has grown into. I still wonder what became of the young boy with undiagnosed Asperger's syndrome, who was being chained away at home, and his great fascination with keys. Now you see there, a young boy, and apparently, eventually someone realized that it was Asperger's syndrome, and he was chained up. That was what was happening to children with special needs before some enlightenment came our way through the Lighthouse School. We do have a caller on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Sir Clyde. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Long time I haven't heard from you.
You miss me?
Yes, man.
Okay.
A Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you and your family, Radio Cayman, and all Caymanians and those who call us home. As I mentioned briefly, 3 things today, 4 things. You may have other callers on the line, so I don't want to eat their lunch. The first thing is district councils. A few West Bayers have been asking me now, what am I doing about forming a district council in West Bay?
They put you in charge?
No. But I had mentioned it previously on several occasions and started doing some work on a constitution for a non-profit organization. But then we had elections last year, so I said, let me wait until we see what elections have to bring about.
Uh-huh.
Because during the campaign season, if my memory serves me correctly, we had a lot of the politician, I would venture to say, all of those who are running talked about district councils. Then those that were elected, I was disappointed to say there was nothing in the strategic policy statement about district councils. And then the deputy leader of the opposition, Mr. Bryan, he brought a motion to try and reactivate them. So I want to see what's happening or what comes out of that motion. Then we take it from there, whether or not we'll go ahead with government's proposal for district councils or whether we do something on our own. The next thing is housing. I know OC had on the Honorable Minister Jay, and I think it was last Friday. I wasn't able to listen to all of the program, so I'm not sure whether anything was happening or did he say anything about housing, affordable housing. If he did, and I missed it, then I'm sorry, but if he didn't, a little public update on the status of the housing strategy would be greatly appreciated. I think one day last week, you had one or two callers talking about the sort of architecture of the built environment.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there really isn't that much that is Caribbean that's happening nowadays.
Do you know if there was actually some kind of policy that it had to be, the architecture had to kind of fit our environment, be appropriate to the environment, kind of?
Yeah, when my best friend Carson Ebanks, I call him Pablo. A lot of us call him Pablo. It was a Spanish name from high school. When he was director, we made some changes to or proposed some changes which were accepted by government and put into the regulations to try and get something a bit more Caribbean, Caymanian, but that was somewhat restricted to those areas that were zoned sort of heritage overlay.
Okay.
Then there were other sections that talked about landscaping and this and that. So there's a lot of local vegetation and some of those colorful vegetation, for your hedges and what have you. So it's great to hear a lot more people starting to recognize that we're not going apart. Myself and those who called in seem to realize that, what's happening here, you can find that in a place in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And even to visitors are now, not only now, but have been complaining that, you're looking too much like America, like a little suburb of America. So, that's good, and it's good that you're calling into the show, but I would encourage them to also call their MPs, because it's those MPs that, when they get into the House of Parliament, that have the power to make these changes.
And if the voter is influencing them, they're more likely to do it, right?
Yep. So don't just sit back on your laurels and expect them to do it on their own, because change very seldom happens unless there's some push for it. And there are numerous examples globally that is those grassroots movements that actually create change.
Yeah, I mean, politicians are very much influenced by the feelings of the people who are going to put them in Parliament.
Right, but a few of us calling into the the talk shows.
Yeah.
Well, yes, they do have some impact. A lot more impact if a lot more of us call our MPs and express our views to them directly.
Or you got 200 WhatsApp messages on the same subject.
Yeah.
You could stop and listen to them if you want to get back in the house.
Yeah, so that makes them sit up and listen. The last thing I want to talk about, mention briefly, I'm happy to see that DOE and the National Trust is talking about making some corridors for crabs to go from for inland onto the beaches to wash their spawn and this and that.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that was in one of the papers sometime last week. And that's noble. But those corridors, I mean, they're only good if the inland portions, like their habitats, are somewhat protected. Because if the habitats aren't protected, then there aren't going to be any crabs left to use these corridors to get to the sea.
Oh, and don't they also have to cross a road in most cases?
Yes. Yeah, but these corridors, I think, would be sort of under the road.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing new. A number of jurisdictions use these under the road corridors for different species to move from one area to another area. So that's noble, but we also need to look at protecting their habitat. I mean, I'm from West Bay, and we could go up Barkers years ago and get all the crab you wanted. Today, that's not the case. You go Button Town, up along 7 Mile Beach. Now you're going up north side, east end to look crabs. But if their habitat isn't protected, they're going to see that the fish, lobster, and conch have gone. We had to protect areas for them. Now, government is considering some sort of management for fishing, crabs. I don't know of any Caymanian who don't like a good crab dinner. The north siders are particularly good with the crab backs.
That was one thing I used to always try and get during like Pirates Week, because I know you couldn't get it, or at least I couldn't get it any other time of the year.
Probably the best bet is during the summer, because to keep them until Pirates Week, and it'll freeze them and keep them until that time. And can you catch enough to save them until then, or you sell them or cook them before that? Yeah, so the earlier in the season, the better your chances are. So for today, those were the 4 things I wanted to briefly talk about.
You mentioned conch, right? And we only got about a minute left. But what do you know what the conch situation is? I mean, as far as what is available?
But I went out twice early in the season. The first day, my mate, he went overboard 2 days. He was able to get 10. The second day, which was probably about 2 or 3 weeks after the first day, probably took about 4 or 6 days to get 10. And we had to move to different locations. I have not been out recently, so I'm not quite sure, but listening to some persons who go out, they're already a lot, they're not as plentiful as they were at the opening of the season.
Oh, boy, already. Clytus, thank you so much for, for your input. Good, always good to hear from you.
Thank you, sir, and all the best. Talk to you later.
All right, have a good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. Time for the news.
We are Radio Cayman.
Covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your latest headlines, I'm Elizabeth Charles. Cayman Enterprise City says the Cayman Islands can be a base for cutting-edge ocean technology and is hosting a Blue Tech webinar later this month to make the case. The 45-minute online session on Thursday, the 29th of January at 10 a.m. will examine how emerging ocean data, AI, and autonomous systems can be turned into commercial opportunities and how Cayman's Special Economic Zone framework supports Blue Tech firms establishing and scaling from the jurisdiction. Speakers include Saildrone Vice President of Ocean Mapping Brian Connon, Luna Maps co-founder and CEO Gabriela Corbera, and Cayman Enterprise City Head of Global Mobility Isabel Ford. In international news, President Donald Trump says he will 100% follow through on threats to impose new tariffs on European allies if no deal is reached on his proposed takeover of Greenland, warning levies could rise from 10% to 25% later this year. Greenland's prime minister insists, quote, "We will not let ourselves be pressured by Washington's tactics," while UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned Trump's tariff plan as, quote, "completely wrong" amid wider European criticism. The European Union is reportedly preparing to force member states to phase out Chinese-made equipment from critical infrastructure. The Financial Times says a currently voluntary regime to curb, quote, high-risk vendors would become mandatory under a new cybersecurity proposal, with phase-out timelines varying by sector, risk level, and the availability of alternative suppliers. Some major telecom operators in countries including Spain and Germany have previously resisted similar restrictions. Those are the latest headlines. I'm Elizabeth Charles.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and let's take our little brief look at the weather, the current conditions. 77 degrees in Georgetown, winds 15.5 knots out of the north-northeast with a relative humidity of 81%. And we've been having scattered showers here in Georgetown, and I guess all over the Cayman Islands. And the scattered showers will continue through tonight. And the Weather Service had issued a flooding advisory. We don't get those in January too often. So if you are in low-lying areas, you might, just stay aware. And the rest of the forecast for As far as the winds are concerned, north to northeast, 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts, and seas are rough with wave heights of 5 to 7 feet expected, and a small craft advisory is in effect. Do we have any callers there? No callers. I did get a WhatsApp message when we were talking about the Lighthouse School and all, and the listener was asking me if I had heard of Prader-Willi syndrome, and I had not, which I informed her of, and she says that apparently this Prader-Willi syndrome, there are 2 cases in Cayman, and it is such a thing that not even the Lighthouse School can manage it. And I looked it up, and it is a complicated syndrome. Prader-Willi syndrome is a rare genetic disorder from missing genes on chromosome 15, causing poor muscle tone and feeding issues in infancy, followed by an insatiable appetite in childhood, leading to severe obesity, learning difficulties, behavioral problems such as temper tantrums and skin picking, and underdeveloped sexual characteristics. Management involves strict diet control, exercise, and hormone therapy, as there is no cure. But with proper support, individuals can lead fulfilling lives despite risk like obesity-related complications. So the spectrum of special needs is very wide, and Cayman has its fair share of special education needs. And we have a caller on the line, so let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Hi, afternoon, Charles. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
It's not. I was just wondering, because I was listening to your previous caller. Gladys was calling, talking about some work that him and Pablo had done to ensure that the low-income housing or that was being built was made to the aesthetics of the Caribbean.
Yeah, or architecture in general, I guess.
Absolutely, especially considering that we're losing so much of that architecture. I mean, you go into some communities in Cayman, and you don't even recognize them anymore because of the new architecture that's taking over and actually dominating the skyline. They take up all of the airspace of it, so to speak. But one of the things that could be incorporated as a remedy or as a solution to that, so we don't get taken over by foreign architecture, is the implementation of the district councils. Traditionally, in places like the UK, for instance, you can purchase land in any community, but you are restricted to keeping within the aesthetic of that community.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just come in because you bought a piece of land and graze the land, get rid of all of the natural flora and fauna, import a bunch of trees that aren't indigenous to the country, and then turn around and build a monstrosity that is actually offensive or intrusive or obtrusive to that environment. So I find it very interesting that in Cayman, even though we claim to be a British dependent territory, that we don't follow that guideline or that a template. I noticed that when it's election time, all of our politicians are chomping at the bit, talking about the importance of district councils. And now that we are no longer in an election mode, it seems that that has become one of the empty promises, or one of those things that has been put to the sideline.
Well, it's required by law, isn't it?
Excuse me?
I say it's required by law, by the Constitution.
A lot of things that are required by law that we don't practice. I mean, I grew up in West Bay, too, at a time when if you didn't have a light on your bicycle or you didn't have a license, the police would actually flatten your bicycle and you couldn't even ride your bike on the road, right? Even to get home. But I noticed that foreign people that come into our country have a carte blanche, free allowance to almost do whatever they want. You were talking today when you started the show talking about, well, what happens between now and the period when the government is going to start to prosecute for infractions of the road with the e-bikes and all this stuff. What happens? Well, what happens is what should happen is what happened to the locals. It shouldn't have been allowed to begin with. But it seems like everything that comes to our country that's foreign, because we're so nice, because we're into practicing Cayman-kind, that we open up ourselves and say, well, you can do that here even though it's not okay for a local to do it. And I find that to be very wrong. I find that to be actually one of the problems we have in our society that we are not addressing. It seems that Cayman is not for Caymanians first, but it's for everyone else who visits. And for them to demand and say, well, this is how it is back where they come from. Or they're allowed to do this where they come from, so they should be allowed to do it here. And I'm not trying to talk about the road. I'm talking about our planning. Why is it that the planning department does not insist that when people put in house plans, that they should first make sure that they at least meet some of the raw criteria or standards of architecture within the Cayman Islands? Don't get me wrong. I understand that everybody wants to build a hurricane bunker. I wish I had the cash to build a hurricane bunker, too.
Mm-hmm.
If I had the cash to do it, I probably would. But I definitely wouldn't do it on the front of the road where it would change the whole aesthetic of my neighborhood. I mean, things like this need to be looked into. Things like this are being overlooked. Matter of fact, they're being ignored. They're not being addressed at all. And that's a real problem in our small island community that has grown to a population of 89,000 people.
But I'm sure when it comes to architecture that you can have a modern hurricane-proof house, hurricane-proof, but a strong house,
right,
and still have a certain style about it that is, fits into the Cayman environment.
Thank you. We are not any town USA. We are the British West Indies, the Cayman Islands. That's who we are. And that identity is being fast usurped or, what should I say, painted. It's almost like there's a brand new facade that we want to put on the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I mean, here it is. I mean, going back to all this building, all these roads. I mean, we can't build enough roads to accommodate all the cars that we're importing. When is enough enough? When do we put down some rules and say, well, okay, like Bermuda, for instance, we're going to have a moratorium on this just because. I drove past a yard this morning. It's actually next to my house. There are 12 cars in the yard. Everyone leaves early in the morning to go to work. A lot of them.
Now, is that because they're renting space in their house?
Well, obviously, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. They're obviously renting space in their house, and they have 12 people in that yard. All of them have been given the autonomy to do whatever they want in Cayman. Why is it that when you come to Cayman, you can have a car in your name as a foreigner, but when you go to another country, you cannot have a car in your name as a foreigner? I can't go to America and own a car because I don't have a social security number to go with it. There are checks and balances in place everywhere else.
Is that so? I mean, you could not own a foreigner could not own a car in America.
I'm not saying that you can't purchase the car, but you definitely can't get a license on your own and have it roadworthy on your own. You need an American counterpart. But this is something that we need to like think of strongly. You know, what are we doing here in our country? I really thought. I mean, I love what Mr. Miles has presented, but I think it's a long-term fix, and it's not even what about short-term? What are we doing now? What are we doing now? Why is it that there isn't anything being recommended or put forward for now? Why is it that they just found somebody 4 years overstayed with a firearm in the middle of Georgetown? I mean, I don't want to rain on nobody's parade, but we have an enforcement department in America. Every time I cut on the news, I can see ICE doing their job or overdoing their job. Why is it that we got somebody in Cayman 4 years with a firearm in the middle of Georgetown with a mask on? I mean, why are we not deporting people? Why are we not doing raids on job sites? Every job site is a foreign face. Everyone. Something not right about that. It has come to the point now in our country where I have to tell you that we know more people in the graveyard than we know on the road. Why is that? Why is that? That's not right. It's not right. It's not right for any society. Why is it that we keep making concession for people we do not know, but we play our own people so close? You know,
well, I mean, as far as the the number of people here on work permits and such, I mean, it's the economy. The economy is booming, and you'll notice also at the same time that as work permits are high, Caymanian unemployment is low, and it's historically that's been the story.
And we're taking the revenue that we're using to accommodate work permits to build more roads. That make any sense? No.
Well, what we need is a good public transportation system.
I have a question. Which other capital projects are being addressed that you know of? That you can name one?
Besides roads?
Besides roads? Well, which other one?
The Brack School, I guess.
Oh, Charles. No.
That's the only one I can think of right now.
I knew you follow my train of thought. And my train of thought, I know that you have to be diplomatic, and I mean, but
no, but that is a capital project. I mean, you know.
Well said. I applaud you for that retort. Matter of fact, I kind of led you toward that because I figured that you would. And the point I'm making is that really something? What are we doing, man? Like I just drove across the. You're familiar.
Make it real quick. I got to go to a break.
Really quick. I'm born and raised in Cayman, Grand Cayman. And I know that between the Holiday Inn and Villas of the Galleon was always a beach access.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it now that beach access is roped off and says fire lane emergency only? Who is doing their job in Cayman? Why are we ignoring all these things that are encroaching on our people? Why is all this happening to us? And we're sitting here like we're like someone has a tape on our mouth and our hands are tied and we can't do nothing in our own country.
Well, on that point, I was just told that someone was, I think I was on the record saying that they're going to be addressing those beach access points to make sure that they are open to the public. Notch, I got to go. I got to take a break. Thanks for calling. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, man, you too. Have a good afternoon.
We'll be right back.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul.
Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cable.
Praise time.
Praise Him, praise Him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise Him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise Him, praise Him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite. Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite.
Praise time.
I know He cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise Him, praise Him, praise Him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and we're down to about our last 9 minutes here. A WhatsApp message first. On the subject of architecture, have you seen the monstrosity down in Safe Haven called Prisma? It's a Michael Ryan development, and the 3 buildings so far resemble those old brownstone buildings in Brooklyn, New York. And these are sitting on the canal facing the beautiful North Sound. I just don't understand what the role of the planning department is. Collect the fees and stamp the building permits? Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Charlo.
Yes, how are you doing?
Not bad, man, not bad. I was on lunch here listening to Notch, and it stirred my soul. My cousin Notch, as it is. And I let me just clap, Notch. For sure, bro. And you know, your question just a second ago is where it's at. But I also blame our leaders again, because it's not as if Cayman, it's either one or two things. They don't live in Cayman and don't see the things that are happening, or don't hear them, or they purposely choose to ignore them, or ignore their people talking about them. And like so many things, I have a lot of faith in this government, but they have a lot of things that they're making priority. But this one has been ongoing for a very long time. So in the case of Northwest Point, for example, which is where Notch and I grew up, and I think also your family, I'm going to use a reference point. And this came out many years ago, and I remember asking about this, even on air, a very long time ago, and nobody seems to be able to answer, or there's not been any sort of answer given. So when my understanding of gates, for example, any sort of gates at that you can, or fencing that you can have at your yard, it had to be to a certain height. I think it was like, isn't it 6 feet, something like that?
I know walls were what, 4 feet or something like that.
4 feet. It was, and that served us well for many, many different reasons. Yet, just there by CG, Glidden, his parents' home, they're opposite the Wesleyan Holiness Church. If you go a little south of that now, those two massive developments that are going on there, they have these walls that are up to at least 10, 12 feet easy.
They want to keep you out.
Solid. Yeah, but if we either have a restriction to the height or we don't. And so when that started to be built, which is perhaps one of the first major developments that started going on in Northwest Point, now it's all the way down. I can, to underscore the point, what if every house on Northwest Point did that? All you would see is stone walls all the way down.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why we did that. And so, what's going on? Like, no one has answered that, and that has been in the public domain. That one example, for example. Never mind now you take it into the commercial, places, and I'm thinking of that new Grand Hyatt and that massive stone wall on the side of 7 Mile Beach there. I mean, you can only forget about trying to get an explanation for that, because as far as I'm concerned, 7 Mile Beach is pretty much off limits in terms of trying to do anything that is
You're talking
reasonable.
about the new Hyatt that's coming online?
Yeah, Charlo, that massive wall there that they're building there. I suspect, just using common sense, it's some sort of retaining. It's playing a retaining factor, because they have obviously up the height.
Yeah, they did a lot of filling there to get that
They
right.
did a lot of fill there, and that was because they understand that that's prone to flooding.
Uh-huh.
To some extent, if you can recall that area before that development came. So they did all that, and I imagine that's playing. But in the meanwhile, it's changing the whole entire aesthetics for that area. Yeah. Never mind.
That was such a beautiful site, too.
Very, very beautiful. But then when it starts happening in residential areas, and I gave you that example in Northwest Point, and it's happening all over. You just read another one a while ago. I just don't understand why no one has been able to explain to us how those people were able to get approval for a 10, 12-foot wall. And then right next to it is CG Parents' home, and you can see the 4 or 5, and I'm sorry that I'm using his name, but you know where it is, right there in Northwest Point. And on all the traditional homes that happen to still be along there, that has some sort of fencing, it's the normal height. Yet you got all these new places coming with, there's a place next to Notch Family Land as well. I mean,
it is jarring, visually jarring when you go down Northwest Point Road, and right there, but where Northwest Point Road and Watercourse Road intersects too. I went there. There's this huge slab of cement going up in the air.
Massive. When you're coming out of Watercourse Road and looking towards Northwest Point, that's all you see. You just see this massive. And again, it is what it is to some degree, and we can't control some of that, I suppose, unless we totally stop it. But at least small things like the stone walls in the front, I don't know why those places are allowed to have 10 and 12-foot walls on the road.
When you see places like that, right, there's a lot of money involved in that, right? So did you not have enough money to get an architect that could use their imagination and give it a little Cayman, Caribbean flair to it?
I'm sure, but there's a bigger point. There's a bigger point than that, though, for me, that I'm asking really, Charlo, because what I'm asking is there a law or is there not a law? Because if there's a law that restricted all the locals, like Sean was just mentioning a while ago, Notch was just mentioning a while ago, then how do they get to do it? So either we have one or we don't have one. Forget about the fact that they could pay to get it done and make it look pretty and incorporate. But then either there's a restriction on walls that you can have at your house as fencing, or there isn't. And that's the point that I'm making. It's one of the many things that has just gone through the map and just allowed to do. We weren't allowed to do it when we were building on Northwest Point. I'm talking about locals. And yet these people move in. And the first thing we saw on Northwest Point, now that development has been there, the one that I'm referencing, at least 6 years, 7 years, easy. And when it first came out, people like myself asked about it, like, how are they able to do it? And, of course, nobody addresses it. Nobody answers how you get to be able to build a 10-foot solid stone wall in a very residential area to start with, and just get away with it. That's all, man. We just keep letting them get away with it. Thanks.
All right, thanks for the call. We're going to try and get one more call in here, but you got to make it quick for me. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello. You're going to have the last word today.
It seems so. I can't help but take my hat off to those two guys, because they're speaking the truth. And when it comes to this beach access, where the majority of those hotels are in 7 Mile, the majority of that land belongs to government and it's being leased. We can't get an answer to that. Right? You know anything about that?
I don't know a thing.
Some property on the 7 Mile stretch belongs to the government and it's leased for 199 years.
You're talking about where the Galleon and the old Galleon used
Couple
to be?
of those old hotels, yes.
Yeah, I know that Galleon was a lease.
And some more down there. And then we end up with a beach access. And it's the government who making us walk through these tracks. As far as I'm concerned. But talking about Northwest Point. When you drive Northwest Point Road, you got like over 3 dozen cars or more parked on the main road. And the majority of the front end or the back end is hanging out into the road. Can you imagine? But those buildings going down there, that should never have happened. They have this, I do not understand what planning is doing to this island with their investors. But you know what hurts Shallow? To know that they cannot go to the bank and deposit money no more. They give them envelopes under the counter. And you talk about corruption with other people. We got more corruption in planning in the government and we got out here in the street.
Well, I hope you.
But I'll let you.
You can't say that without proof now.
Oh, well, we got to stop sitting on being a bunch of idiots. That's what we got to stop being Shallow. Got to put reality to the ground.
Well, listen.
But you take care and have a good one.
All right. You have a good afternoon. And that is it for Talk Today for Monday. Thank you for listening in. Thanks for picking up the phone and giving us a little chat and some food for thought. I'm Charles Glidden. One love.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.